all you do is look for properties with that one problem. Like let's say it's too small or it's too wet or too steep, and then you only target those properties that have that one problem, and you become a millionaire. I mean, it's crazy.
Financial independence,
freedom,
financial picture,
independent financially,
financial future,
financial freedom and wealth,
financial independence.
Get your fill, financial independence and long life. Welcome back to another episode of Get Your Fill, Financial Independence and Long Life, where we explore ways to achieve those two goals, and wicked, awesome people come on to help us who've already done it, right? That's what you want. You don't want to learn from somebody who's just sort of, kicking the tires. So that's why I'm really excited that Wayne Seminoff is with us today. Wayne earned his MBA in the 70s and soon became financially independent with great stories along the way. Awesome. We'll be hearing some of those today. One of his two main sources of income for decades comes from strategically buying what other people consider junk land, fixing it, and then selling it for 100 to 400 times his initial investment. What? Awesome. Wayne, tell us more. I know that's kind of open-ended.
Yes.
So let me just say,
Okay.
How did you first get interested in, okay, even back up more. How do you define junk land?
Okay. What I have learned to do is a beautiful opportunity for anybody who has a job and wants to make a huge amount of retirement money and still keep their retirement job and become independently wealthy. And it works. It's not, you hear that it's like it's mostly bullshit, but what I do is real. And it's something I learned over 40 years. I decided to target junk land, which is that's basically it's all the little properties that people don't want that are in the tax sales and too small or too steep or too wet to build on, and they're all overlooked by the major people because they don't know how to fix the problems. Okay, and the key to what I do is I learned there's 7 basic tricks to fixing junk land. I mean, land that's just you go to the building department and say, there's no way you can build on that. And then I go and I build on it. And for example, I live in Kirkland. It's a very expensive neighborhood. And I bought a little teeny piece. It was about, maybe 2,000 square feet. No, I think it was 3,000 square feet in a wetland, 1 block of my house. And where I live, the house is up for, $4 or $5 million. And I was able to get a building permit to build on it, a 3,000 square foot home. And I sold it for $400,000 for the land. With the building permit, I sold it for $400,000. And I bought it for $1,250 at the tax sale. Okay, $1,250. Okay, anybody knew that. And then it cost me about $35,000 in building permit fees to get the building permit and all the wetland studies done. And it took about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
It took a long time. But at the end of that time, if I didn't have to work on it every day, you only work on it like once a month to keep the ball rolling. And so if you have a side job, it's perfect because you work on something for a couple hours a week, and then as time goes on, when it's all over with, you get a check for $400,000, and it's miraculous. And some of them you can do really quick, like one I did in Issaquah. I called this guy. I saw that. I looked at the tax sale list, and I saw the guy lived in I don't say like Midwest somewhere. And I called him up and I said, "You have this beautiful piece of property in Issaquah. It's flat. It's a half acre, flat and clear, water, sewer, and power." I said, "How come you never build on it?" He says, "Well, the title's all messed up, and we can't sell it because it has bad title." And he said, "We tried to give it to the city of Issaquah, and they refused to take it because the title was bad." Okay. And I'm an expert at clearing title. So I said, "I'll give you $500 for it." And he goes, No, what do you think? I'm crazy or something? And I said, "Well, how much do you want for it?" He says, "If you give me 1,000, I'll sell it to you." $1,000. $1,000. So I Venmoed him $1,000. I sent him a check. I sent that money to him. I did I sent him electronic signature deed to sign and send back to me. I gave it to my attorney, told him what to do. And it took me 3 months to get the title cleared. It cost me $15,000. And so now for $16,000, that property today is worth $500,000 cash today. And I'm a little greedy. And I went to the city and I said, can I subdivide this? He said, of course. So I filed for a subdivision. So now the property is worth $1.2 million. The subdivision is almost complete. It'll be done in like, maybe about 2 weeks. So for my $15,000 investment, uh, and this is what anybody can do if you just know the trick. What I did is I did this program called Junk Land into Gold. It's an online program, and I specifically told people how to do it, what to say, who to talk to, where do you start, where you end, how do you sell it. The whole program is in there in explicit detail. I did 58 videos, 2 books. It's quite an involved program.
Yeah.
And I think the price now is around $700, something like that. Called Junk
Like a good
Land into
investment.
Gold. Yeah. I remember that, junklandintogold.com. And I'm not really doing this to make money. The reason I'm doing this, I just turned 81 last year. And my
Wow,
brain started to
congratulations.
fail me.
You're looking
And
good.
I could feel that my brain is going. And once it starts going, eventually it's gone. And I have all this wonderful knowledge. And I decided my new thing I'm going to do in my life is to share all my knowledge with as many people as I can before I die.
Great.
And so that's what I did. So I developed this program, and I love doing it because I'm getting lots of people that call me and say, well, how do you help me with this and help me with that?
Yep.
And I love helping people. That's what I love doing. It's my favorite thing in life is helping people with everything. And
Awesome.
in fact, I have another site. It's called AskWayneAnything.com. Ask Wayne Anything. And on Ask Wayne Anything, you can ask me anything. I've got so much knowledge. I've got several degrees. I've studied science and business and psychology and just all kinds of. I know everything about everything. Okay, and if I don't know, I'll find somebody who does, and I'll get the answer for you. But that's my goal now: is to make people, give them some power of knowledge that they wouldn't normally have without the experience. And if you're 30 or 20 or something like that, or even 40, and you haven't had the experience to do in this stuff, there's no way you can figure it out. Unless you do what I did, which spent 40 years doing it. I started knowing nothing. I went into it knowing nothing. And I just started studying everything. I'm really a good researcher. And I started researching everything about real estate. And then when I did it at first, I noticed that all these people are fighting tooth and nail for the golden property, the good looking property.
Yeah.
And they pay a lot of money for it, and they make money. They can make a lot of money, but it costs, they have to have, lots of money to buy this stuff.
Yeah.
And at that time I was broke. And so I found I could buy properties for $100 at the tax sale. And I bought hundreds of them. I bought hundreds of them. And they don't all work, but the ones that work pay off so big, you can buy 10 or 20 more with the money, still have money left over, and still have a huge bank account, and I used to have checks just floating all over the place. I wouldn't even cash, because I had $50,000, $60,000 checks that I just forgot about because I got so much money coming from this stuff. It was weird, and I was a poor guy growing up. So to me, it was a big deal,
Yeah, it's
and
fun.
so that's kind of what I do and why I do it. And 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 uh the main thing is that people they think they're in a box. They can't pay all their bills. They're frustrated. They don't see the future looks pessimistic because they can't get out of the box they're in. And I have a way to get out of the box. And it's easy. It's really easy. I mean, I've got, I don't know, there's more than 7, there's probably 12 programs, but any one of the little tricks that I teach people, if you learn that one trick, all you do is look for properties with that one problem. like let's say it's too small or it's too wet or too steep, and then you only target those properties that have that one problem, and you become a millionaire. I mean, it's crazy, and always been shocked how much money I can make off it. I never believed I could make this much money. I just did it because I enjoyed it, because it's fun. It's like playing Monopoly, the game Monopoly,
Yeah.
except when it's all over, you take all that paper money and you go to the bank and you give it to them, and it turns into real money. I mean, really, all the real estate stuff you buy, and people love that. I mean, uh, the bottom line is it opens the doors to people to have a way out, a way to get where they want to be.
Yeah.
And it's dramatically good for your ego and your self-confidence uh, uh, and one of my key things that I try and teach, it's really important that nobody else teaches this. Well, some people do, but it's called mistaking your way to success. And with this business is making lots of mistakes on the way to making money. And so if let's say you mistake your way, let's say you buy 10 properties and you mistake your way on, let's say 6 or 7 of them, but 3 are home runs. And those 3, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars on. So by making all those mistakes, you succeed. And this business is fraught with mistakes because you try this and that doesn't work. You try that and that doesn't work. And you just try. The key to it is not giving up and believing that what I do. Every time I make a mistake, I laugh at myself. I say, "Damn, I made another mistake. I'm going to be really, really rich because I just made another mistake." And it's a philosophy. And if you keep that philosophy, the benefit is your self-worth feels enhanced. The normal person, when they make a mistake, their self-worth goes down. They say, "Oh, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I just screwed up." Okay, that's normal. And if you do that, you'll fail.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you go and well, I just made a mistake. God, I'm another step closer to making, $1 million.
That's right.
And it drives you forward, makes you happy, and makes you feel worthy that you're capable and keeps you going. And so that's probably the most important thing I can teach people on all the things I do, you know. Uh,
Mindset.
and the second most important thing is how to buy the property, because if you buy it right, you can sell it the next day. If you buy something right, you can sell it the next day for double what you bought it for. Or you wait a month and you do a little work on it, and you sell it for 5 times more. Or you wait 6 months, you can sell it for 10 times more. Or you wait a year, you can sell it for 100 times more. And if you wait 2 years, you can wait. I've got one that I'm just put on the market. I'm going to make 600 times my money. I mean, just crazy. It's crazy. But but anyways, that's that point. That's that point. Yeah.
Well, that's a fun point to make. So it sounds like you're finding a lot of these properties as tax sales. Is that
You
accurate?
can find them anywhere, but
Yeah.
tax sales is the best. The best place to find don't want it immediately, the easiest way, because if the property's in a tax sale, the people don't want it.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't afford it. They can't afford the back taxes. They can't. Might have tried to build the property and they can't build it. It might have defects that just seem unfixable.
Yeah.
And there's so many ways to fix property that even really smart attorneys that I go to, hardly any of them know all this stuff. In fact, I have to teach attorneys how to do my cases when I'm doing them to fix the problem, because nobody's ever done it the way I do it.
Yeah. Interesting. So when you started out, you had your MBA, and how did you get into this?
Oh, okay. Well, I got a good story for that. Excuse me, I just woke up. I'm a little foggy, but doesn't matter. It's still there. I still got this stuff. I just got a master's degree in a really advanced business school degree taught by Harvard professors back on the East Coast, called Decision Sciences. And I tried to get a job locally as a consultant because I knew all this new stuff. Nobody'd hire me. That was I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and then me and my wife, we moved to Bellevue, Washington. I decided I wanted to live in Hawaii. So me and my wife and my new baby daughter, we drove to Seattle and stayed with her parents. We're going to stay there for like a few days and then go to Hawaii. And I got into Seattle and I fell in love with Seattle. I love the weather. I love the rain. I love the coldness. I love the sunshine. There's water all around you. There's trees, and I just fell in love with it. And but anyways, I still was thinking, well, I still will go to Hawaii, but what the hell? I'm going to go look for a job. So I went to UW job board. They had this the little cards they put on the job board with little
Yeah.
3x5 cards.
We're dating
I went
ourselves
there.
there,
I looked
Wayne.
3x5 cards. We need a real estate consultant for a major real estate development company, and they offered a really high amount of money at that time. It was equivalent to like 10,000 a month or something. I said, what the hell, So I answered it, and turns out it was set there by one of the heads of ITT in New York City, who owned a real estate company in Seattle that he was going to sell it. He decided it was owned by ITT. They wanted to sell it. So they needed somebody to appraise the value of the company for selling it. And they say, that's the job we need done. Can you do it? And I said, of course. I had no idea how to do it. There, of course, because I learned real fast. And so he says, well, you're the only guy that answered the ads. You're hired. He says, you have to be on a plane tomorrow morning. We're going to interview you at the ITT headquarters in New York City. And since I don't have time, I can't send you any money. So you got to pay for this all your own pocket. This time I'm broke. I don't have any money. And I said, okay, I bought the ticket. It was like $400. And I fly to New York City. I get out of I go to the place there. I go up to the main office where the guy is. And he says, hi. And I said, yeah, I'm Wayne. How are you doing? He didn't even interview me. He says, hey, how are you doing? How's your day? I said, yeah, well, I had a long flight. That and I said, well, okay, all right, you're hired. See you later. Bye-bye. I had a 5-minute interview. 5-minute interview. Didn't ask me anything.
Just a formality.
You're hired. But also he said, oh, and then how much should we pay you? And I doubled the amount that they put on the card. And it was like, so I was making like 20 grand a month. And this is in 1970.
Wow.
1970. I mean, it was like, so I went back to Seattle and I just learned everything about real estate. I studied everything there was. And I really learned it all. I mean, I'm a really good researcher, and I know everything about deeds, more than almost anybody, even people who do deeds or, title companies and all that stuff. I know more than they do. And so I learned all this stuff. And then, and I was there for like about 2 years, maybe about a year. And I learned appraisal and I appraised everything, all the properties, and I did give them the number. And then at that time, my job was over. And so then I decided, well, okay, what am I going to do with all this real estate knowledge? I decided to become a real estate salesman, and I said, yeah, that sounds good. So I got a job with a commercial real estate company. And my first project I sold was in downtown Bellevue where, Bill Gates and all those guys live. And we sold it at that time, it was like $500,000, which is that means 5 million today, if we did it way back when. And then my commission was, I can't remember what it was, but let's say the commission was the $50,000. Okay. But by the time everybody took their little piece out of it, I ended up with $5,000. I mean, when you work for companies, they teach you, basically. And it's normal. And then I look back, I look at the closing statement and I saw the owner got 90% of the owner of the property who sold it got 90% of the $500,000. Okay. Our little piece that we fought over for commission, we only got 10%. And that was just, and then they got chopped up and I only got, whatever.
Yeah.
And that taught me the owners are the guys you want to be. You don't want to be the guy, the salesman. salesmen get screwed. They never make any money. I mean, they make money, but they make enough to, doesn't
Yeah.
work. So at that point, I decided I'm going to buy property. I didn't have any money, so I went to tax sales and I started buying these tax sale pieces for $100. There was, they were all over the place, and then I figured I had to learn how to fix them. So I didn't know how. So I'd go to the city planners and I'd say, I bought this piece of property that looks like it's non-buildable. How do I make it buildable? They say, well, it's not buildable, but if you do this and you do that and you do this other thing, they showed me all the back doors. And I went to several of these guys, and each guy had a new idea. And finally, I had a list of powerful tools that I could take these junk little properties and fix them. Like one big thing I learned is you get a variance on a property. Like most of the properties are small.
Yeah.
If you buy a little teeny property, it's maybe it's say 2,000 feet or 1,000 feet, and you can the city will give you a variance to build a house on it, even though the city code says you can't build on it because the setbacks are so extreme. You got 20 feet in the front and 30 feet in the back and 10 feet on the side.
Yeah.
And found out that I bought a property in Seattle. It's 1,000 square feet, 1,000 square feet triangle, right in a real nice area. And I got 7 variances and I built with a 0 lot line on 2 sides and 1 foot lot line on the other side, and was able to build a 3-story, 3,000 square foot home on it. And I sold, I can't remember what I sold it for, but I sold it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that really taught me that you can get a variance for anything. I mean, this lot was garbage.
Well, and right now is a good time to do that too, because a lot of municipalities are waiving some of their requirements because they feel like they have a housing shortage. So they're just,
Yeah, in
here
fact,
they're allowing you to take commercial land and rezone it to be residential.
yeah,
They're, waiving parking requirements, all kinds of ordinances that they have that they're happily waiving, just like you
right.
said.
So all
Yeah.
these little junk pieces are now dramatically more than last year. In
Yeah.
fact, all the big changes are going in a month, in June in Washington. They're wonderful. I mean, they're like, wow, okay. Yeah. So instead of getting a property where you can put 1 house on it, you can put 3 houses on it. And so instead of making 100 times your money, you can make 300 times your money. I mean, and for the guy who's doing this, I average 10 times my money on my properties. That's probably
Mhm.
average. But every once in a while I hit a home run, about, maybe every 10 or 20 sales I do home run profit, which is the huge payout.
Yeah.
But, and I could sell some properties I could sell within a day, because you buy something like I bought a property for $500 at this last tax sale, and I'm going to call the guy who actually it's part of this guy's yard who needs it for his yard. I was going to say, hey, you need this, I'm going to sell this back to you, and I'll sell it to him for a couple $1,000s or something. But I'll sell it right away, and I'll make a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
But uh, but it's what it is it's a vehicle to happiness personally.
Hmm.
And once you're happy, your family life change, everything changes in your life.
Yeah.
Your whole attitude changes. And the key to it is you have to laugh your way to success. Because if you mistake your way to success, I always have to laugh. Whenever I find myself, I just take a deep breath. Oh, wait, look, you just made another mistake. And then I go, yeah, I'm going to get really, really rich, and I keep saying that over and over. And how your brain works, if you say stuff over and over, eventually you believe it, even if it's not true. And you just do it over and over and over. And I being 80 now, I make hundreds of mistakes every day. So I laugh pretty much all day long. I mean, really, I do, and because, yeah, it takes me 20 minutes to type a 1-line email. you know? I mean, really, my fingers don't do what my brain does, you know?
Yeah.
But it's pretty crazy. And uh and again, the junklandtogold.com, that's really it's a good site. It really is good, and it's very valuable. And it's ongoing too. It's not just you just buy it and you learn it, you know. It's
Yeah.
gonna go, it's ongoing. We're gonna keep follow-up seminars with people so when they get into the detail, then I can handle the detail for
Yep.
them. And
Great.
uh yeah, it's pretty wild. It's fun. And um I still do it, but I only do it like now just kind of as a hobby.
Yeah.
But I just do it because I can't stop going to the tax sales. But I don't need to do it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't need to do it. But I just do it because I just love doing it so much. In fact, I had a partner. I got a funny story. I had a partner. Oh, in the very beginning. Oh, this is really a good one. Um, when I was just struggling along buying these little $100 pieces and learning how to do all this stuff, um, I went to the Sunday Times, look for auctions. I figure auctions is a good place. And I saw the auction that said uh, dead people's effects sold by the county. You know, dead people, you know, and what that meant was this stuff off mortuary people where people die and they cut all their jewelry off and then they sell it, you know, eyeglasses and false teeth and watches and rings and shit. So I went there and there was like maybe 5 people there. And and there's all this stuff they're selling. And this guy was competing against me, bidding against me. And he's and he came up to me and he said, you know, he says, hey, look, don't bid against me. He says, why don't we just bid together and we'll buy everything really cheap and then we'll go to Denny's afterwards and split it all. And we did that. And we
Great.
bought everything. We bought it all. Bought a big bags of, you know, just all kinds of stuff, you know. I mean, like, you know, but the thing is rings and stuff, but a lot of them had blood on them and stuff because they
Oh,
just cut
geez.
them off the body. I mean, it's really morbid. But they had a
Oh,
lot of watches, you know, like, and I'm a watch freak, and I got a really nice watch, and we put a big pile of watches on the table, and he said, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me, and you know, and he had a pile of watches, so did I. But the kicker, this is the most important part. I looked this guy up. He owned over 1,000 junk property, 1,000. He was a professional junk property buyer for 20 years before me.
wow.
And he was the guy he owned more property in Seattle than everybody in the whole state except the federal government. And I looked at him and I realized I knew what it'd take to fix these things because it's so complicated. I said, there's no way in hell you can manage these properties and make them buildable and sell them. You know, I said, if you give me if you let me sell all your properties fix the problems and sell all the properties for you, and you give me half the money that I make for you, I'll do it. And he says, that's a great deal. I take it. So from that day on, I was half owner of 1,000 properties.
Cool.
And that's where I really got into it because then I just, you know, I learned everything there was on fixing all these junk land. And we made lots of money together. We had a crazy partnership. He's a wild man and I'm a wild man, but he was really wild. I mean, I'm a little wild man. He's the big wild man. And he and we had we had so much fun making money with this junk stuff. And it was just incredible. And that's where I really got my start. And that was like in the early 70s. You know,
Fun.
and ever since then, I've just been hammering it, you know.
Well, but you're an opportunist, right? You saw that opportunity and you said, hey, okay, here we go. How can I give him some value and keep some for myself and make this partnership work? That's a great model.
Yeah, yeah. And it worked. It worked. And then but now I want to give it away. Like I think the price on my program is like $700 something. But all you do is sell one property, to get your money back. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's but and I wrote 2 books, and they're very detailed books. One is how to go to the tax sale and buy the properties, and the instructions on what to do and who to call and what to say when you call them.
Yeah.
And the other one is once you get the property, the other book is more extensive because that tells you how to solve all the problems. So you go, and like there's one that's this one is really cool. If there's sewer on a piece of property, that's a good thing, and you can connect to it. But
Yeah.
most of the properties on borderline that are out on the city's fringes, you need septic systems.
Yeah.
And most septic systems are really hard to get. They're really hard to do.
Especially on a
And,
small parcel because you can't be too close to it.
but I found a way to make virtually any property perk, no matter how bad it is, even if it's water underwater. And it's a real simple trick, and all that involved is basically, if you can't perk on the property you have, you go to the neighbors and you buy an easement from them to put your septic system on their lot.
Cool.
Nobody thinks about that. And then if that doesn't work, and then if that doesn't work, you go to the next guy. And if that doesn't, you go to the next guy. And I did one, it was a half mile away from the property. And I had to go through 20 people, but 20, I had to do 20. I had to mistake my way to success. I had to talk, I got 19 no's, and the last one said yes. So I ran a 1-inch pressure line down the road to his property, and I was able to build on that wetland that was really wet. I mean,
Wow.
the get a septic system on a pretty wet property. Yeah. But
Yeah.
the key to that,
Clever.
this is the important thing, you can get a list of those from the county, and there's all your guys that you're going to go after. I mean,
Yeah.
and there on the list I got, I did this one time. It had like 500 people on it, and you're going to make one deal somewhere.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
500 people, and these guys will sell their property for nothing because it's worthless.
Yeah.
You can buy it. We can negotiate with them, but you buy it really cheap, and then get them the perk. And if you just learn that one thing, this one trick, and learn how to do it and do it, you'll have enough money for everything you want to buy. You'll have enough money for the rest of your life,
Excellent.
and you can do it while you're working at your regular job. I mean, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about, oh God, I got to quit my job and take all this risk. The
Yeah.
risk is minimal. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great, Wayne. Have you found any area of the country is better than another for finding great
No,
deals?
no, well, it's not, because the rules apply everywhere, because they're universal. The rules in the technical part varies in each county. Okay,
Yeah.
the technical part, but the overall thing of finding don't wanters exists everywhere in the country. And what creates a don't wanter is somebody. This is where I find the best ones. People who inherit property. When their parents die and
Yeah.
they're hard workers, they're going to work on the property, and the kids buy it and they had no clue what to do. They hate their parents and they hate the property their parents had, and they don't want it. And I call them up and I said, I'll give you, pennies on the dollar. And they said, you bet, man. And they'll sell them for nothing,
Yeah.
but don't wanters exist everywhere, and they're created automatically by death, by divorce, by inheritances. Running people just go broke and they don't have any money, and so they don't want their property because they can't afford to keep it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and you don't have to buy houses, just buy raw land.
Mhm.
Once there's a structure on the property, everybody knows the value,
Right. Yeah.
and you can't steal it. But if it's raw land, people have no clue what raw land's worth.
Yeah.
They really don't. And it could, and if it looks bad, people won't even buy it. You can't even sell property that looks bad,
Yeah.
So you can go to the tax sales, or another thing I do is I just take county maps that shows all the properties, the pictures of them,
Mhm.
and on the map, and I look for goofy looking little pieces that are surrounded by nice houses, and I go, what's wrong with that little piece that's down in the corner here? And let's see if I can do something to make it buildable.
Cool.
You know,
Cool. So, Wayne, our time is going by so fast. I want to ask you now, is there anything that you wish I would have asked you that we haven't touched on, or anything you want to make sure that people go away with?
We're in very difficult times right now in our universe. There's a lot of negative stuff going on, and negative stuff affects your whole life and your whole being and makes you negative. And what we need to do is to get our mindset into a more positive place in spite of all the bullshit that's going on in the universe around us. And this is one way you can do it. There's millions of ways, but this is one way you can do it, is to get your mindset on something that's positive and happy and gives you feelings of self-worth. And one message I want to give to people just in general is ignore all the bullshit you hear. Don't listen to mainstream news, and just create happy, loving thoughts in your mind and body all the time. And it's a war. You have to fight the war to do it. It's not something that just comes. You have to make it happen.
Yeah.
But if you make it happen, it makes your life so much happier. And you can be in chaos. And if you stop and put your mind in a good, happy, loving space, chaos doesn't matter. And that's where you want to be as much as possible. And do it over and over every day. I practice doing this every day to stay in the happy, loving energy, no matter how bad it is. And I talk to people on the phone, they say, Wayne, every time we call you, you're the happiest person we talk to. And no matter who we call, how come you're always so happy? And I'm happy because I concentrate on making myself happy in spite of all the bullshit. And there's always stuff, lots of negative stuff, and
Yeah, and happiness is a choice.
yeah. So my favorite thing I'd like to tell people is do the best you can to stay in love energy every day and find ways to get there. And if you go to my Ask Wayne Anything, I think there's a video. I put a video on there how I do it, and I do this little morning meditation. It takes me like 5 minutes, and I practice it all day long, and that really helps me do all my work and keeps me in a good attitude. And when you're in a good attitude, things come to you.
Yeah.
So the universe gives you gifts if you're in a good space. But if you're in a negative space, the universe doesn't give you stuff. It takes things away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Power of attraction.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wayne, thank you so much for sharing all your secrets today. We really appreciate it. And we'll put the links to your website in the show notes so people can catch up with you. They can ask you anything, and they can turn junk land into gold.com and change their whole life and their whole outlook.
Oh, wonderful. And let me show you where I'm at here. I'm going to step away so you can see the view in my condo here. If I can do it.
Try tilting it down a little bit. There it is.
Oh,
there it is. Beautiful.
That's the view behind me.
Yeah.
I'm on the water here in Maui. And
yeah.
And I just wanted people to see this is what you get. I decided to come here for a week, cost me 20 grand. So what? No big deal.
Yeah.
This is what I can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's freedom. That's what people mean by financial freedom. You just don't have to think about what it costs. You just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's actually not that hard. It's actually not that hard. Yeah.
Excellent. Wayne, thank you so much. And thank you, listeners, for listening. I know you are thinking of all kinds of great ideas of what you can do with Wayne, with what Wayne has shared. But I want you to not be selfish. I want you to think about at least 5 other people who you know could benefit from all that Wayne has shared. And Wayne will thank you, and I will thank you, and your friends will definitely thank you. And then be sure to be back next week.
Well, all my love to all your listeners, and may their lives be wonderful and happy.
Beautiful. Thank you.